just taking up two questions from the homework. Number 6 right here, it sounds, I know that some of you guys skipped it or you had trouble with it. So right here, you have this Ukrainium-238. This is just a name. It's a radioactive element, and it decays to half of its original size for every 4.5 billion years. So let's say you start off with a 0.5 kilogram of this, and then in 9 billion years, how many times did it decay? Twice, right? Okay, because it's every 4.5 billion years, so in 9 billion, that means it decayed it twice. So you're going to times it by a half, and then times it by another half, which gives you the answer 0.125. Now, because we're so fancy, 0.5, we can rewrite this as a fraction. So when we rewrite it as a fraction, this is actually a half times another half times another half. And if we were to rewrite this with exponents, we can write it a half to the power of 3. Your base number is a half, so make sure you do put a bracket around the half, otherwise the denominator is not going to get the exponent. Right? So then you get 1 over 8, which is the same thing, 0.125 kilogram. Okay? And then similarly, in 22.5 billion years, if you divide it out, it means that it will decay 5 times. So you could do 0.5 times a half times a half times a half times a half times another half, which is the same as a half to 6, including the original amount. So then you get 1 over 64, and you get the 0.015625 kilogram. Okay? Instead of timesing by a half, what's another way of doing the same thing? Yeah? Okay, or, that's good, that's good. Timesing it by a half is the same as dividing by 2, right? Okay, so keep that in mind. It's not the same as divide by 0.5. Okay, so a lot of people make that mistake. Times by 0.5 or divide by 2. Okay. And then number 7, it was saying 1 to 16 is the same as 2 to what power? So it's 2 to the negative 4. You know that 2 to the 4 gives you the 16, but because it's 1 over, that's why you have that negative. Okay. And then for part B, it was just 8 times 1 over 16. When you multiply, you just multiply to the top, so you get 8 over 16, which is 0.5 milligram. All right, so that was the answers to number 6 and 7. Number 11, this B question. For 11D, this is actually a grade 11 question where you solve for the exponent using algebra. Okay, but in grade 9, you can just use this doing trial and error. Okay. So for now, you can just do trial and error. Yeah.
When we're dealing with variables as exponents, should we know how to solve it with algebra?
Grade 11.
So not this.
Not this year. It's a whole new thing. You have to use log and ln. Yeah. Not something that I could teach in 5 minutes. It's like a whole chapter of it in grade 11. Okay, so now we go on to the power rule. Okay, so the power laws, there's just 3. When can you use the power law? You can only use it when it's a multiplication or division question. Okay, keep that in mind. So when it's adding and subtracting, it does not apply. The bases must match. You cannot combine something like this. Okay, the base here is 3, the base here is 5, so I cannot combine them. And your base will never change, so it doesn't become 3 times 3 equals 9, for example. Okay, so what are the 3 rules? Okay, so when you're multiplying 2 powers of the same base, you can add the exponents. So it's a 2 and a 4. You can add them to give you 3 to the power of 6. Okay, why is that? Because 3 times 3 times another 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, which means in total you have 6 of them. So that's why you can use this shortcut of just collecting them all and adding the exponents. The second one is the dividing. All right, so when you have 3 to the 10 divided by 3 to the 8, how do I get 3 to the 2? What did I do to the exponents?
You subtracted them.
Right, all I have to do is subtract. And why is that? Because 8 of them canceled out. When you write it out in a numerator and a denominator, 8 of them canceled. So you're just left with 2. Okay, so 3 to the 2. And then the last type, 3 squared raised to another exponent. So an exponent raised to another exponent. How do I get 3 to the 8? Multiply, that's right. So if you multiply the 2 and the 2 to the 2 and the 4, you get the 8. Okay. If I were to rewrite this out, it's 3 squared times 3 squared times 3 squared times 3 squared, which refers back to this rule. And so that's why you have 3 to the 8. Okay. So let's try a few examples. This one right here. 4 squared times 7 at 4, 7. Yep.
That's 4 to the power of 2 plus 7, which is 4 to the power of 9.
Perfect. B, Luke.
7 to the power of 7.
Good. C, Joshua.
It's 9 to the power of 2 plus, well, effectively you can just add all the
Yep.
exponents. So 2 plus 8 plus 7, which equals 9 to the power of 7.
Perfect. Okay, notice all of these, your base stays the same. You don't change your base. D, Jimmy?
5 to the power of 19.
5 to the power of 19. Perfect. Alright. What about this one? Actually, no. Here, I'll do this. 16. That's a 6. Okay, what about this? Armin? No,
You can't simplify it.
I cannot simplify it. Why?
Because the bases are different.
Right, so remember, base must match for you to be able to combine them. Okay, I'll do a next example after where you can combine. Okay, let's try the divisions. Okay, number 2, 2a, what do you get? Yashika? 5 squared, good. Oh, by the way, the question asks you to write as a single power, and so you just write 5 squared and not 25. 25, this is as a single power, a power answer. And if you write 25, this is a evaluate answer. Okay, so notice the difference between the two. So if the question asks you to write a single power, this is your answer. If the question asks you to evaluate, then this is your answer. Okay. 2b. Did I forget your name again? Wait, I'll come back to you. Stephen.
2 to the power of 3.
2 to the power of 3. Right. You don't need to write 8. You can just leave it at that. What's the first letter?
A.
Adam. No. A? Oh, Ensign.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Ensign. It's a Thursday morning. 8 to the power of
8 to the power of 15.
15. Perfect, because you are multiplying. All right. D. Exponent raised to another exponent. Philip.
7 to the power of 15.
Okay. E. Joshua.
3 to the power of
45, because it's you multiply them. And then F. Jimmy.
17 to the power of 56.
Good job. Okay, so these are nice and easy. It should be like super easy marks on the test, like a multiple choice question. Okay. Oh, sorry. Here, I'll move this back a little. G. G requires you to do 2 steps, like an extra step. Okay, Ensign, tell me what to do.
5 to the power of 35
Perfect. Because bedmass, you still want to do brackets first. So you would simplify this by adding the exponents. You get 33. Okay, and then
5 to the power of 2.
perfect. Because I'm dividing, so I subtract my exponents. So you see, if you do this on your calculator, it's gonna give you a humongous number. Okay, but because we know the exponent rule, all this actually simplifies to just 5 squared. Okay. H. Armin?
That's 5 squared. Sorry, 4 squared.
Good.
And then squared that.
Yep.
So that's 4 to the power of 4.
Good. In this case, you actually get the same answer if you do exponent to exponent first, exponent to exponent, and then subtract. You'll come up with the same answer. But I still think it's much easier if you do the division, apply the division rule, exponent rule, and then multiply. Okay. In terms of formatting, make sure after you simplify the bracket, you keep this bracket, because otherwise I don't see the exponent raised to another exponent. It will look like 4 to the 22. All right, so make sure you keep that bracket there. Okay. Charles,
2 to the power of 8.
can you tell me the steps?
In the first bracket, after doing the thingy, you get 2 to the power of 2. And then if you like multiply the exponent by 3, you get 2 to the power of 6. And then in the other bracket, like after you like do that, you get like 2 to the power of 2. So in the end, you get 2 to the power of 2 times 2 to the power of 6, which gives you 2 to the power of 8.
Perfect, thank you. Alright, I like your second answer much more than just 2 to the power of 8. Okay. Now J. Okay. Armand?
Yeah. So first we have to convert the 9 into something we can actually work with.
Good.
So we turn it into a 3. So it will become 3 to the power of 5 multiplied by 3 to the power of 2 to the power of 4. So
Like that?
no, 3 to the power of 2 to the power of 4.
Okay, so what do I need in there?
So we need brackets.
Brackets, that's right. This to me looks like 3 to the power of 24. Right, so why did we have to change the 9 to a 3 square? Yeah, why?
Because we can't simplify when
The base.
the bases are different.
Right. So we are, in other words, we're forcing it to be the same. So we're, does it always work? No. Okay. So only if the number you can change the base. So between 3 and 9, I know there's a connection. Okay. So then I can do 3 square and make this like this. So now, Armin, can you finish up the question?
Yeah. So 3 to the power of 5 multiplied by 3 to the power of 8,
Perfect.
and then it will become 3 to the power of 13.
Awesome. Alright. So I think with this chapter, with the exponent rules, there's only 3. Okay. So if you can remember and apply it correctly, you'll ace the test. You'll get perfect on the test. It's really just testing you guys on these 3 rules. This is as hard as it will get. Yeah. Okay. So changing the base and then applying the 3 rules. Okay, basically. Okay. One last one. A B C D F G H I J K. What's this? Okay, what about this one? Okay, Armin?
Well, you can like simplify using any of the rules. Then you take like the 3 squared in common, and you can do 3 squared and then 3 cubed plus 1.
Okay, can I apply the exponent rules? No, because why? Why can't I apply the exponent rules, Luke? Right, remember the very first rule that I said up here? It only works, the rules, the laws, only works on multiplication and division question. This one is a addition question. So I cannot rewrite this. So I cannot rewrite this as 3 to the 7. What I can do is I could evaluate 3 to the power of 5 is actually 243. 3 squared is 9. So your answer to this question is just 252 if I evaluate. I cannot rewrite it as a power. Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's underwhelming.
Okay, so I throw these ones in. I throw these thinking questions in, so that you remember. You guys know the 3 rules, but you also have to be careful that you don't get tricked. You don't just blindly apply the rules. Yeah.
Like if a question said that, but then it says like write as a single power, would you just say like you can't?
Yeah, that's right. Okay, that is a tricky question. So your answer, if it's right to singles power, you just write cannot, or can't, or undoable, undefeated. Yeah. Okay, so that's the lesson for today. Since you guys have so much time, like 50 minutes, I'm gonna assign a little bit more. Up to page 11. Actually, no, 12. Up to page 12. 12. Up to page 12.
I think
Yeah, it's easy. Homework up to page 12. Good. Okay, and that's because you guys have the field trip tomorrow. So you have you have an extra day, and then it's the weekend. Alright, so you up to page 12 for Monday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so plenty of time.